Do you see what I see? I was driving to my sister's house, and when I rounded the corner, I spotted this gorgeous Eastlake table hiding underneath all this scrapped wood. With the warm weather here and everyone doing spring cleaning, I've definitely been keeping my eyes peeled for gems just like this. Hi, I'm Denise from Salvaged Inspirations, and welcome back to my furniture painting DIY channel. Let's get started. Once I brought it down to my studio, it was time to give it a really good once-over. This gorgeous detailed base was all intact, no broken or missing pieces. A few of the joints had come loose, but nothing a little wood glue and clamps couldn't fix. The wood boards on top were a little stained and blotchy, but the biggest issue by far was the warped boards that were coming apart on top. I was hopeful it could be saved rather than replaced. You may remember this severely warped table I rescued. I was prepared to put in the work and try to straighten these boards as well. Because this table looked so old and ornate, I Googled it before I started working on the piece. This confirmed it was an Eastlake table made popular and named after the British architect Charles Eastlake. It's from the Victoria era in the late 19th century, so this walnut table is very old. The first thing I did to start this makeover was flip it on its top and disassemble the piece. I disassembled it using my impact driver and a drill bit extender. A regular screwdriver would work as well, but the extra torque helps when dealing with screws that likely haven't been touched in decades. Once the table skirt and/or apron was removed, there was nothing holding the top boards together at all. But before we start doing anything with that, it's time for a super good cleaning. Well, I usually use my TSP substitute to prep furniture for stripping and/or painting. On old wood pieces like this, it can really, well, on any piece actually, it can dull the existing finish. And since I wanted to preserve the original finish, or just I certainly wasn't going to strip it all down, I opted for a gentler solution, which was a few drops of mild dish soap mixed with water in my spray water bottle. This was enough to remove years of dirt and grime without being too harsh on the wood. I used my automotive sponge and also a brush to get into all the nooks and crannies. I even found a wad of maybe 100-year-old gum on the underside, which I scraped off and cleaned up. And I also did some detail cleanup with Q-tips. I cleaned this piece a good few times over and over again until everything was running clean on the sponge and on my gloves, etc. Then I left everything to dry overnight. The following day I came down and started assessing what needed to be repaired on this table. I started with the very easiest repair, which was the base. I added a little bit of Titebond wood glue. I wish I had used my syringe right from the get-go. I don't know why I didn't bring them out, but this is not the easiest way to do it. Once I had the glue distributed, I took my mallet and hammered the joints together. Once I had everything fitted nice and snug, I wiped off the excess glue with a damp paper towel, and then I added a clamp and let everything dry. The base was put aside to dry, and I put the apron or the skirt, table skirt, onto my work table and assessed what needed to be fixed. To stabilize this apron skirt, I took a few steps, starting with squaring up the corner and using a piece of scrap wood to create the support. Then I sanded off all the old glue, re-glued the corner and the corner support into place, used my mallet to hammer everything together, clamped, and let it all dry. I also ended up screwing in a long wood screw to double ensure everything was solid and wasn't going to budge. To secure the wood trim on all four corners, I brought out my glue syringe, which works wonderful getting into tight places. And it also doesn't just squish out the glue, you can actually use the needle portion to distribute the glue. These are super inexpensive. They make the job so much easier, faster, and cleaner. And I will leave the link in the comments down below for all the products I'm using if you'd like to go take a peek. Once I had the entire skirt all squared up, re-glued, and secure, it was time to move on to the warped boards. I went back and forth on whether to totally replace this top with new boards or to fix the existing. My preference was to keep everything original. And the key to bending wood back into shape is dampness, weight, and time. And the timing is very important, so I keep checking on it. The warped side, or the cupped part of the wood, should be facing down. Once the warped side or cup side is facing down, I add another old towel on top and I spray it or mist it with water. So I have the warped board sandwiched between two very damp old towels. I also added my dad's old vice grip, which weighs a ton, and a few paint cans. I also added my heater in the room and I had a fan going for good circulation and I left it for 48 hours. Let's bring this table back to life with a walnut gel stain. As I mentioned, I wanted to keep everything as original as possible. I did not want to strip off this old finish. After the light scuff sanding, I removed all the dust with a microfiber cloth and then brought out my walnut gel stain. And I chose walnut once again to keep everything as authentic as possible. I love working with a gel stain. I find it so much easier than a traditional stain. And the difference is that gel stain sits on top of the surface like a film, more like a paint, while traditional stain sinks deep into the wood pores. So when you're using a traditional stain, you would have to sand everything back so the wood can absorb that pigment. Whereas when you're using a gel stain, a light scuff sanding just to give a light scuff or rough up the surface just enough to have the gel stain sit on top. It's highly pigmented. It's a translucent sort of stain look, but you can build on it the more layers you add. I also find it a lot cleaner to work with because liquid stains are very thin. Traditional liquid stains are super thin and watery, making them prone to running, splashing, pooling. Gel stains are like a pudding consistency, so it eliminates drips and it makes it an ideal choice for vertical surfaces like doors and cabinets, which I will link to the gel stain doors I refinished in the description box down below. I like applying the stain with an inexpensive chip brush. I find this really easy. It's just like painting it on. And just as you would with paint, you don't want to overload your brush or underload it. So you just want to add a decent amount onto the wood surface. And once it's painted on, and I do like working in sections to keep it nice and manageable, I take a lint-free cloth and I wipe back the excess gel stain. And this is where the magic happens. Just take a look at how the grain in this wood starts to emerge, and it just looks so lovely. I worked my way around, working in sections on the entire skirt, and I also did the underside. I know nobody's going to see it, but I thought if I'm going to be restoring this table and trying to make it look as it once did, I wanted the stain to look all cohesive. With the base and the skirt looking beautiful, I set it aside, let it dry, and now it was time to work on the top. As I mentioned, the board sat for 48 hours, and although the warp straightened out considerably, it was not 100%. Which at the end of the video, when you see the after, I'm curious whether you would have swapped these boards out or kept the original. I brought the two sides into my sanding room, and using 100 grit sandpaper, sanded all the blotchiness and stains off these walnut boards. I also used my orbital sander to get the staining and old finish off the edges, and it works quite well. Once you get comfortable using an orbital sander, you can get into those nooks and crannies, no problem. And also the edges of the board, so I removed any glue so I could do a glue up. It always amazes me what a difference a sanding can make. Now it was time for the glue up. I ran a bead of Titebond glue on each board and smoothed it out. I actually made a mess, as you can see here. I need a new bottle of Titebond glue, definitely. It's seeping out of all corners here. And I'll spare you the messy details. And I ended up cleaning it up and joining it and clamping it. However, I kind of wish I had a biscuit joiner to keep everything in place. If any of you have that tool and have experience using it, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, because I think that's a tool that I would actually get a lot of use out of. After the boards were clamped and I had let everything dry overnight, I came back the next day and it was time to give the top a beautiful walnut gel stain finish. And I used the exact same technique as I did on the base. I was using my inexpensive chip brush. I worked in sections. I would brush it on and then wipe back the excess stain using a lint-free rag. Once everything had 100% dried, and this is oil-based, so you do have to wait a good few days. And if you're ever on the fence of whether your oil-based finish is dry or not, a good test for this is the touch and sniff test. If you touch it and it's still tacky, it is not dry. If you smell it and it still smells like solvent or stain, it's not 100% dry. I reassembled the table, and I imagine this is more what it looked like with its original walnut stained finish. I sprayed this table with 3 coats of gator hide. This top coat is not only water resistant, but it's also water repellent. I've used it on high traffic items like my kitchen table, which gets used numerous times a day, and it's held up extremely well. It's also a water-based product, which is perfectly fine to use over an oil-based stain, so long as the stain has completely dried. And just as a reminder, here's the before. And here's the after. I feel extremely lucky that I spotted such an old find under all that scrap wood. Did the top turn out perfectly as I would have liked? Unfortunately not. There's still some warping and gaps between the original boards. Yet when I look at this table, I see years of stories and plenty of history and character. What are your thoughts? Do you think I should have replaced the top or kept everything original? I hope you enjoyed the salvaging of this Eastlake table as much as I enjoyed doing this makeover, and I hope it's inspired you to give one of these techniques a try. Thanks so much for watching. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think of this makeover. I read each and every one of your comments. Also, feel free to like and subscribe here on YouTube. Until next time, have a fabulous week. Bye, guys.